Kurt Cobain.
Yes.
Yes. Alright, so
as a
we
matter
will
of
cut
fact,
the line here.
Nice.
Keanu
Please,
Reeves, is this a
Rinpoche.
crossover episode?
oh, I just wanted to say that I won't be
sure.
able to stay for this evening. I just passed by to wish you a happy new year, to present all of you my best wishes, and I will come another time soon.
Well, thank
Okay,
you very
best
much.
wishes,
Happy
thank
New Year
you.
to
Happy New
you
Year.
New Year.
too.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year, Rinpoche.
Is my
Alright,
is my
so-
mic working fine? Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes, we can
Yep.
hear you
I can
clearly.
hear you.
All right, thank
and
you,
guys,
thank you.
Let's form a line along the path here, since we're in a new environment. I guess we'll do it just like that. And yeah, Julia, when you're ready with the bells, we may enter the shrine. It doesn't need to be that loud. Your mic is quite good on Quest.
Hi, Emma. Come in. Emma.
I think she's frozen.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go in.
Hmm.
Alright, Julia, if you want to join me, I know you're struggling a bit with the quest today, but if you want to join me in front, we will do the aspiration. I have it. Okay. Go back. Sorry, little technical difficulty. Well, it's nice to see you, new people. You new faces today. Are some of you actually on quest today?
Yes, I'm on Quest 2 today.
Oh, you are. Great.
Yes.
Great. So we're testing it for the first time. So how's your experience so far?
I have my graphics boosted up through, side quest, but that's probably why. But it has like a little, lag and clipping in the vision, but that's probably just for me because I have my stuff changed.
All right. Okay. So I don't know if you're able to make a screenshot or something, but if you are, it would help us work on it. If you're able to do that.
Yeah, I'll try to
Alright, so-
record something.
Okay. Good. Thank you. So normally we all rise for the aspiration. Are you ready, Julia?
Yes. Shall I start?
Yeah. All rise, please.
Victorious Buddhas, compassionate ones, throughout the infinite worlds of the 10 directions, grant your blessings so that the inner and outer work that I accomplished today bears the fruits that multiply beyond imagining and extend to the very limits of this existence to benefit myself, the ones I love, and the countless other beings of the 6 realms.
Thank you, Julia. Stay here since we will have the reading as well. And to all of you, well, bow to you and welcome you. Wish you a very happy new year. I hope you guys had fun during the holidays and had some time to rest as well. It was a
And not
crazy
lost your
year.
hands.
I'm sorry?
And you didn't lost a hand.
I don't understand.
Fireworks.
Sorry.
It means the fireworks.
Oh yeah, I wanted to I wanted to attend actually Times Square here in VR chat, but don't know if many of you experienced that, but it kind of went all down for a brief period right
Yeah.
at the right at the hour.
Too many people.
Yeah, actually, I've been told that it was a denial of service protection that kicked in because there were too many connections, and so it was denying connection to everybody. Anyway, so that was, I guess, a wet, a wet firework, but it was nice to see the community growing so much. So anyway, we may now sit, and I think I will begin by telling you the little things we want to do differently this year. If you've been on our Discord, you've probably seen, well, just a second.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, just was helping her find the mute button. So, yeah, so this year we are doing a few things differently. One is that we've added sessions, if you have seen, and I did speak about them a bit before. It's growing now. Emma and NeoJax sometimes. So far, it's just Emma doing all the work, but NeoJax might join soon. Is holding meditation sessions and group discussions on Wednesday. So, and this is at 9 p.m. It's a schedule that we have created. I'm talking Eastern time, hey. And it's a schedule that we have created especially to accommodate the West Coast because some people, it was a bit too tight with their work schedule. So it's completely different than what we do on Mondays. It's not like a formal study and commentary. It's more of an exchange. So if you like that vibe, I definitely invite you to try that. Emma's very good at guiding meditations too. And also on Fridays we have created Open Teacher Day, and I feel I should explain how that works. So it's the same schedule as Mondays. We have 2 sessions available, but actually nothing is booked. So if you feel like you have stumbled upon the greatest teaching of a lifetime, or you know a guy that should come and speak to us, or you want to tell us about your latest insight, or tell us about your passion or whatever, then these slots are available to everybody, actually. So they are 2-hour slots. You don't have to do both slots on the Friday. You could do just one. And the idea is that you just communicate with me, tell me about your project, and we put you in the event schedule. And when I see that nothing is happening, sometimes I will put a movie in there or do a special teaching or a special meditation session, whatever. So it's kind of our free day to enrich our experience in the Sangha. And I would be very happy if you participated and brought your own perspective about life and shared it with others. That would be really something wonderful, I think. I see people that were, well, at least one person, maybe 2, that were at the VR Mystery School lecture yesterday. And was a teaching about hermetics. And to me, it was amazing how many points connected just straight without any change to Buddhism. And it also kind of reinforced my belief that pretty much all traditions are just the fingers of the same hand. That there's basically just one truth that we can discover as human beings, and that but there are different paths to get there. So I feel our Open Fridays are a bit like that, by bringing different teachings and different life experiences. we will get different angles on the truth, different signs on the path. And I feel it could kind of complete the Buddhist curriculum. So I'm looking forward also to do some exchanges and bring some people here from the VR Mystery School, and maybe we'll go there and get involved as well. That would be very nice. You know, if you feel it, I think I have a link in our Discord server to this world and to this Discord server, so I'll invite you to have a look as well. It's like a natural fit for us, I'd say, in the things that we're studying. Although we're much less into the occult and the esoteric side of things, some profound teachings really match well. All right, so today we're gonna talk about dependent. No, it's not dependent origination. What was it? Dependent. Yes, it is. Okay, I thought it was last teaching. Okay, so dependent origination, and the name of this teaching basically means that without your participation in the right causes and condition, suffering cannot occur. The important part of that being without your participation, suffering cannot occur. So, Julia, if you want to read for us, and then I will do a little commentary.
Sure. The dependent origination. What is the source of human grief, lamentation, pain? Is it not to be found in the fact that people are generally desirous? They cling obstinately to lives of wealth and honor, comfort and pleasure, excitement and self-indulgence, ignorant of the fact that the desire for these very things is the source of human suffering. From its beginning, the world has been filled with a succession of calamities over and above the unavoidable facts of illness, old age, and death. But if one carefully considers all the facts, one must be convinced that at the basis of all suffering lies the principle of craving desire. If avarice can be removed, human suffering will come to an end. Ignorance is manifested in greed that fills the human mind. It comes from the fact that men are unaware of the true reason for the succession of things. From ignorance and greed, there spring impure desires for things that are, in fact, unobtainable, but for which men restlessly and blindly search. Because of ignorance and greed, people imagine discriminations where in reality there are no discriminations. Inherently, there is no discrimination of right and wrong in human behavior, but people, because of ignorance, imagine such distinctions and judge them as right or wrong. Because of their ignorance, all people are always thinking wrong thoughts and always losing the right viewpoint, and clinging to their egos, they take the wrong actions. As a result, they become attached to a delusive existence. Making their deeds the field for their egos, using the working of discrimination of the mind as seed, beclouding the mind of ignorance by ignorance, fertilizing it with the rain of craving desires, irrigating it by the willfulness of egotism, they add the conception of evil and carry this incarnation of delusion about with them. In reality, therefore, it is their own mind that causes the delusions of grief, lamentation, pain, and agony. This whole world of delusion is nothing but a shadow caused by the mind, and yet it is also from this same mind that the world of enlightenment appears. In this world, there are three wrong viewpoints. If one clings to these viewpoints, then all things in this world are but to be denied. First, some say that all human experience is based on destiny. Second, some hold that everything is created by God and controlled by His will. Third, some say that everything happens by chance without having any cause or condition. all has been decided by destiny, both good deeds and evil deeds are predetermined. Will and woe are predestined. Nothing would exist that has not been foreordained. Then, all human plans and efforts for improvement and progress would be in vain, and humanity would be without hope. The same is true of the other viewpoints. For if everything in the last resort is in the hands of an unknowable God or blind chance, what hope has humanity except that people holding these conceptions lose hope and neglect efforts to act wisely and to avoid evil? In fact, these three conceptions or viewpoints are all wrong. Everything is a succession of appearances whose source is the accumulation of causes and conditions.
Thank you, Julia.
You're welcome.
You may take a seat if you want. All right. So, as you may have noticed, today we speak mostly about desire, which is a central Buddhist teaching. And I really want us to realize how desire makes us miserable. We've been there before, we mentioned it before. But let's start by just talking about that, just for fun. How do you think that our desire can contribute to make us miserable? Yes, Flora?
I think that the more that we yearn for things that we don't have, or dream for things that aren't accessible to us, we start to chase things. We start to accept ideas of doubt, and we start to, crave and go after things. We put all our energy and focus into something that probably in the end will not give us the gratification that we thought it would.
It's a great answer. Beans, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think a lot of the same as what Floral said. The more we desire, and then if something is out of reach, then we feel disappointed that we couldn't achieve our desires. Or if we desired something and then we got it, and it just didn't meet to our expectations, then that can also be very disappointing.
Right. So, would everybody agree with that? Do you have another take on the subject?
No, not really.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe
maybe
you,
that
Taylor?
desire means that it's never enough. So what you have will never fill you up. Desire. So you're never happy in the moment. You always want more.
All right. So, I'm just gonna piggyback on that because you have just provided the perfect bridge to go back to my my trail of thought, and it's very compatible with what has been said as well. So I'll just say let us think about the pandemic last year, and we will realize that wealth, honor, comfort, pleasure, excitement, self-indulgence, they all come to pass. I don't know what's your experience, but I have many friends that are in business. Some of them owned restaurants. Some of them owned, other types of business that were very dependent on receiving people. And they went from very, very wealthy to very much in trouble right now and being sued also by suppliers that they couldn't pay. And basically, they went from the top of the world to almost criminals in a snap of their fingers. So even though you have a very deep bank account and many possessions or everything that you yearn for, it's all very fragile. We only feel that it's solid, actually. And so the book seems to say that although there are calamities, illness, old age, and death, that these are not the true causes of our suffering. And there is a quote by Kodo Sawaki that I like. If you don't know who Kodo Sawaki was, he was a prominent Japanese Soto Zen master, born in 1880, and I think he passed away in the 60s. So his quote goes like this: "It is not life that causes suffering, but our expectation that life should be the way we want." So, suffering happens when our expectations or our desires negate reality. And desire kind of always negate reality, because it's like saying, oh, I am dissatisfied with what I have or with what I go through, so I need something else for my life to be all right. I need to fix my life. I need to fix myself. And in that thinking, Shoyam Trungpa used to call these type of thinking always like the poverty mentality, because you feel poverty stricken. You feel that like you don't have all that you need to be happy. Well, is that really true? Right? So that suffering happens to negate happens when our expectations negate reality. Really is a timeless conclusion, and no wonder Kodo Sawaki wrote it maybe in the beginning of the 1900s. It could have been said by Egyptians, for all that I care. I'm sure that having desires in back in the time of the pyramids was just as much a negation of reality as it is today, isn't it? And it's kind of important to realize that, because that's how you see that human wisdom and human truth has been the same for a very, very long time. Desire and the way that we manage our intellect has been problematic for humanity for thousands of years. And you will find that in many traditions. So, can you also see how it has nothing to do with the world's context in any given year? I always like to think about people like Schindler, you know, the movie Schindler's List, or there's well, it's contested whether it's true or not, but Anne Frank in her diary, and there are tales like this from World War II and World War I of people who did incredible things while bombs were exploding all around. They kept their morals high, they helped others, they even managed to remain cheerful, some of them. If you have seen the great movie Life is Beautiful by Roberto Benigni, you know exactly the type of fortitude that I'm talking about. This guy was making the war times a game for his kid, basically, so that he wasn't too traumatized by what he was experiencing. So where do you get that strength from? And I think you get it by a sense. I don't like using the word acceptance, because you should not accept war. You should not accept hurt and suffering. Why would you? But there is a sense of welcoming the life circumstances and the world circumstances. I mean, you cannot wish your way out of war. You cannot hope your way out of war. It may help, but it's just not going to solve it overnight. And desire would just frustrate you. It would make you miserable if every day you wake up desiring things to be otherwise, but you wake up in the trenches, you would be miserable. So you do need to embrace whatever is going on before you can work with it. And in other words, outside circumstances only have the power over us that we give them. And I could rephrase that as people around us only have the power over us that we give them as well. The world cannot make you miserable. Circumstances cannot make you miserable. And people can't do that either. So, however, there's a little distinction that is important to make when we're talking about desire, and people get kind of trapped in it. Well, let me actually expand for 2 minutes on this. Some people think that meditation in Hinduism or meditation or Buddhism is disciplines for mind control. They try to control their desires. They try to control their concentration, control their mindfulness. They try to think happy thoughts. They try to do happy deeds and good deeds. And this is actually a very dangerous delusion. If you've been sitting on the cushion trying to control your mind, you are lost. And here's why. You are desiring your mind to work otherwise than it is right now. Why would you negate your own mind if it's the essence of everything that you are and maybe of the universe? How would you start your path by negating that? It doesn't make sense at all. So you don't need to control the mind. You just need to learn to work with it. Just like a war, you need to learn to welcome the mind as it is, with all of its waves and its storms and sometimes its calmness and its nice things, and kind of learn to dance with this. Living in harmony with the universe means dancing with the universe, not controlling the universe. Guess what happens when you're trying to control life? You lose. Guess what happens when you lose? You're miserable. So control is the root of all evil in a way. It's based on fear, and it's based on desire, and thus on the negation of reality. So, and another point that is very interesting in Buddhism that has a lot of people stuck is the cities, the superpower of Buddhism. And these, I will tell you, work like Marvel comics. You read Superman, Spider-Man, whatever, and all of a sudden you wish you could throw, spider webs and swing your way out of the city because you think you want the child in you wants to believe that all of these powers are possible. And so, old masters, thousands of years ago, they would use your greatest weakness, which is your fear and your desire, and they would turn it against you to take you on the path of enlightenment. They would basically tell you or show you something like, become enlightened and you will fly, become enlightened and you will teleport, or you will levitate. Or so they're using the fuel of your desire to get you on the path. And then as you're trying to achieve these things, you're also learning about a lot of other things. And slowly but surely, these ambitions fall away if you're paying attention. It's the same with the meditative experiences. If that's your main focus, you're probably not progressing very much on the path if you just spend your time on the cushion flying around instead of dancing with your mind. So these are very important because I've seen people stuck on these things for more than 25 years, 30 years. I've even seen people spending their life as Buddhists, like 40 years, and say, oh, I spent my life like meditating on chakras. It didn't do anything good for me, so I dropped it. Or they are sad that they don't have the superpowers that they were looking for and they feel they've been lied to. Well, these are just misconceptions. So make sure to understand the nature of desire, the true nature of desire and control, and you will steer clear of these things. Then, some of these things are not completely false, As you get to know the mind, you kind of get to know other people. And as you observe the world, you get to know how the world works. That does give you a little jazz, a little something. And you will enjoy that. But let it happen by itself. Don't try to make it happen. That's not how it works. All right, so that was quite a parenthesis. I guess all I wanted to say is that we need to also distinguish between craving desire and like normal desire or an aspiration. Okay, because that's the thing. That's why people start trying to control their desire. They decide that, okay, desire is evil. so I'm gonna remove that from my life. Desire is not evil. It's more like fixation. Sticky desire is the problem. So a craving desire is something that, like, if you don't get it, you will feel miserable. Let's say you have a crush on somebody and you think about them day and night. You know, you cannot help but think about them. Then if you don't get that person, if you don't manage to have the relationship that you want with that person, it may break your heart, it may make you cry, it may have you depressed for a long while. And the problem is probably not the person. I mean, people can decide whether they want to be with us or no. The problem there, what is really hurting, is the attachment that we've been cultivating for this entire time. So it is a desire or an idea, a want that you're very attached to. You're cementing it almost, you know, in your life. And it is like almost saying, like, if I have this person or this thing, my life will be wonderful. But if I don't, my life is not worth living for. And it's not just in relationships. Some people feel like that about their studies. They think that their diploma will define them entirely. Some people have an incredible need to be good persons as well, and they hate themselves when they're not that. So they desire to be good persons beyond anything. Some others, it's about money and career, or a location, or Shoshin Trungpa used to say something very interesting about the poverty mentality and these desires. He said, you know, people in the West, for example, they have 2 cars, a house, a wife, kids. They have all their lives working for them, and they crave for a simpler life. They want a simpler life. They want to go back to nature and grow a garden and all of that. And they think highly of themselves because they want that. They feel they call it a simpler life, but actually it's luxury. If you have everything and you want nothing, nothing is your luxury. And if you have nothing and you want everything, then everything is your luxury. Actually, whatever comes after the word I desire is what your luxury really is about. Right? Is where you're tricking yourself, is where you're making yourself poor. An aspiration, another thing is desires have this way also to throw yourself out of balance. Like when you focus on your wants, it's like, you know, your want is up there and you're focusing on it. Let's say it's the lamp up there. So I'm focusing on this lamp and I'm walking, and then I'm tripping over a rock because obviously I was not paying attention to the ground. Right? So if you're focused, for example, on a person and you stop washing, drinking, eating, you have trouble attending work because it's on your mind all the time, then of course you're throwing your life out of balance. And what happens then? Neglects, accidents. And then these neglects and accidents will cause frustration and anger in you. So these sticky desires are quite dangerous. An aspiration, on the other hand, would be more like choosing a destination and then navigating to pursue that softly, being patient, taking detours and anchoring the boat when the weather is not good enough to keep going. So all of that while keeping your original resolve to reach your destination intact, no matter how long it takes. So that's when you have a sense of where you're going, but you're also kind of easygoing. You're browsing there, you know. You're not on a mission and stepping on people as you go. That's like a proper aspiration, a good way to relate with the world and with our wants. And did somebody say something? Okay, maybe not. So if you die before reaching that kind of goal, it's not that big of a deal. You knew it was a possibility at all times that the storm would take you away and prevent you from reaching your goal. If you can get there, fine. That's what you wanted. That's what you were aiming for. But if it doesn't happen, well, you enjoyed the journey. You had that wisdom of enjoying the journey. See? So instead, for example, of wanting someone in our life so bad, why don't we simply enjoy the little moments that we are given with that person? Or same could be said about any things, you know. Maybe you don't own a Lamborghini, but maybe you've had an opportunity to see one, even if it's only in a picture. So we can just be grateful for that, not making ourselves miserable because we don't have a Lamborghini, and browse easily towards it. So at some point, the book says that ignorance is manifesting greed in the human mind. And now I'm going to test you a little bit just for fun. What is ignorance again, according to Buddhism? Could somebody answer that? No one? Okay, I'll refresh your memory. Ignorance, according to Buddhism, is ignoring the cause of suffering. You don't know what's causing pain in your life. And so you repeat the same patterns. You keep on desiring, you keep on doing many things that ultimately cause suffering for you. And, well, if you didn't get the first one, I don't know if you're going to get this one, but I'll try. I wanted to ask you, what is the root of all suffering, according to Buddhism, then? What is causing this ignorance? Do you know, Flora?
Desire.
Yeah, close. Desire and ignorance are close, but what is before desire? What is the pre-existing condition that allow desire to arise? Beans, you have an idea?
Was it fear?
I'm sorry?
Was it fear?
Fair?
Yeah.
I don't understand what you mean. If it's
Fear.
fair.
Like fear.
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 Oh,
Fear.
Being scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is fear. I should have gotten that right away. Yes, so the root of desire is fear, and I'll expand just a little bit on this. It's fear of other. If we are, you remember that we spoke extensively about these things. If we are a multitude, then we are competing. There are different things in the world that I have to acquire, push, pull, gather, or whatever. So as long as I am stuck in the what the Buddhists call the illusion of separation, then I will be experiencing fear because there are all of those things coming to get me. So actually it's like a view or a conception of the universe. It's a bit of a lack of perspective and not understanding how everything is interconnected, and therefore experiencing separateness. When you experience separateness is when you start desiring. Because if you're one with everything, what is left to be desired? You have everything already. Right? You could, I might have told that story before, I'm not sure, but I will repeat it. In Ecuador, we have a small house, and there are lots of trees, and sometimes the leaves fall on the porch, and we want to keep that clean, obviously. And I always thought it was the most ridiculous chore because I would get out with a broom and gather the leaves, and then take 3 steps and just empty the thing 3 steps farther. So I was taking dead leaves outside and I was dumping them outside again, just 3 feet away. And in a way, if you are one with the universe, desire would be kind of the same thing. Like you're taking, I don't know, like a cup of milk from the bowl of milk, and then you're throwing it back in the bowl of milk. What's the idea behind that? So if you feel whole and complete, and maybe if we bring it down and very small to our own little everyday human perspective, just feel adequate. If you just feel adequate as a human, what is there to be desired anymore. If you don't need that big house all of a sudden, or that perfect girlfriend or boyfriend, or the dog, or the location, or the whatever, what is left to be desired? So as I always said, like, if you want to become a rich man, just be content. It is exactly the same. Feel adequate, be content, and you have pretty much cracked it. Fear will leave your life. Um, So the book gives us a hint when it says people are unaware of the true reason for the succession of things, and that's like they're unaware of the ground. If you remember, not long ago we did the aspiration prayer to Samantabhadra, and we were explaining that Samantabhadra was the mine and like the Buddha field, and so this is the true reason for the succession of things. This kind of field that is a bit beyond our senses as human beings. So if we think about what's causing the world and it's that, then we also understand that illusions are kind of born from it. It's like the universe is dreaming this world, and we're kind of part of the dream and seeing different dream manifestations. And this is where we get our illusion of separation from. And separation brings lack, lack leads to greed, greed is desire, and so yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd say. The scriptures also say that there are unobtainable things that we restlessly and blindly search for. In fact, uh, let us think about that just for a second. What are these unobtainable things we restlessly and blindly search for? What satisfaction really lie in outer things? What joy can a new gadget or a new relationship really bring us? Don't we tire of everything? So all of this is pretty temporary and pretty much dependent on our attitude about the thing. If your attitude allows you to be happy for a long while, then you'll be happy for a long while. But then why not fix your attitude before the desire altogether and just be happy? If you have the right attitude, then you didn't need the thing, right? Some people struggle with the idea that there is no good and evil, as was mentioned in this text. And the reason for this is because we think dualistically. Again, it's like the separation illusion. So we think that something cannot be both good and evil. Yet pretty much everyone in their life, on some occasion, tried to do something good, only to realize that it had offended somebody else. As a matter of fact, it happened to me yesterday. I was trying to bring some good news to somebody, and well, someone was happy, and somebody was not, and that's how it works. Good and evil are not two different things. They're pretty much just different places on the spectrum. So, like a different state of the same thing, if you will. Just like hot water and cold water could be said to be opposites, they also remain of the same nature. And it is also true of notions such as right and wrong or good and evil. One of these duality that I find particularly useful, I drew that on an insight after meditation a long while ago, but I drew this line, and on the left side I put fear, and on my right side, obviously, on the right side I put love. And I realized that this was kind of like hot, cold and hot, you know. Love and fear are pretty much just states of the same thing, states of mind. Speaking of which, these words like right and wrong or good and evil, they're often used in old Buddhist texts to indicate what will lead you to good and right, or away from bad and evil, enlightenment. So it's not something to be taken literally, like something sinful. All experience has its own justification. I think the old masters are just trying to tell us, look, you may lose some time if you go in that direction, so they will call it wrong to help us orient ourselves. So it's wrong. Yeah. A good example of that is when the book says that ignorance will lead you to wrong thoughts, losing the right viewpoint and clinging to the ego. All of that is obviously related to not wandering too far from the path. And nothing really happened to you in the moment that you lose the right viewpoint, right? You won't go to hell necessarily, but your practice will just be in danger, so to speak. Ego is also a big subject in Buddhism. Like desire, it is often misunderstood. People think you need to suppress their ego, and there really is no need at all for that. Again, it's about dancing with it and about the importance that you give these things, these aspects of yourself, and how much power, how much dominion you give, for example, your ego, over the rest of your life. So if you focus too much on your selfish wants, what's going to happen is that your deeds will be self-centered, and so they won't benefit a lot of people. And so you will slowly but surely isolate yourself from the world, and will probably just keep your possessions or the things that you have acquired through your selfish actions as loyal companions. At some point, yeah, the scripture speaks of carrying an incarnation of delusion. We're into a lot of misconceptions, I guess, today. So I isolated that as well. Incarnation of delusions. Although this is a very simple phrase, I think it helps to understand what is often meant by incarnation, reincarnation, and different types of bodies in Buddhism. And the idea there is to not be attached to your current form. Anything that can be conceptualized is an incarnation. Does that make sense? Should I expand on this?
A little bit, I'd say.
Perhaps a little.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, um, do you see how by creating a concept in your mind, you're basically breathing life into something that did not exist before? Let's say you are anticipating a fight at work tomorrow. There is this colleague or whatever, then you know your heart may start pounding just thinking about that, and you may start trying to plan what you're going to say and what their answers are going to be, and then all of a sudden an entire scenario with sound, lights, images is playing in your mind and in your entire body. How do you see how this idea suddenly became real? Right? So you could say that this idea of the fight at work is now incarnated. You have given it a body. You have made it something tangible and something real in your mind's eye. And so this is a profound teaching. It's difficult to explain it all, but when we're talking about the different incarnation in Buddhism, often people think about dying and coming back in a body, but it's not this. Every time that your ego manifests, you are incarnating something, because you are taking your human will, you are creating a goal in your mind's eye, and you are breathing life into it. So you are creating an incarnation, and all of a sudden you are inhabited by this by this entity. So that's how it kind of becomes your body. So we do this all the time, pretty much every minute, if not every second. Actually, if you are in the unhealthy habit of following your thoughts and obsessing about them, you are pretty much incarnating everything that goes through your mind. you're giving it tremendous reality all of the time. And then what does it do? What happens if instead of just my body, all of a sudden there's a new body in my mind and in my heart? More separation, more fear, more feeling of lack, more desire, more frustration. It's very subtle, but it's also very important. And I mean, if you do reincarnate as a as a body, yeah, be my guest, that's fine. But that's not very useful for your current life. So the way to think about reincarnation in a way that is useful for everyday living is thinking how you are bringing your fantasies, you're making your fantasies real. Now there are fantasies that are a good idea to make them if you're fantasizing about a garden and growing your own vegetables. I mean, that's a good place to breathe life into. But if what you're creating for yourself is neurosis, and you're almost dysfunctional in the rest of your life because of that, well, quit it. It's not a good idea. So anyway, let that sink in for a while. Ponder it a little bit. How you really are the creator, at least of your internal life, but also realize that what is in you will manifest outside. A thought is the seed of an action, or of an answer, or of a behavior, or of an unconscious reflex. So if you are creating these bodies all of the time, Eckhart Tolle speaks about the body of suffering, to kind of regroup all of those things. And so at one point somebody may speak to you and you won't answer, the body of suffering will answer. You may start crying, you may become depressed, you may want to commit suicide, or you may bite, fight back, yell. That's what it does when you have given it such tremendous reality, such tremendous power. Another part of today's lecture that is really important, I feel, and that also serves as an introduction to what's coming in the following chapters, is the complementary affirmation that it is their own mind that causes the delusions of grief, lamentation, pain, and agony. I just want to read that again. It is their own mind that causes the delusions of grief, lamentation, pain, and agony. Yes? Yes, John?
I need to go and take care of my cat. She wants attention, so sorry, gotta leave.
Okay, well, take care. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a great lesson. See you later.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye.
All right. So, as the book is telling us, like the suffering is in their own mind. So can you see that? Do you agree with this? That I mean, let's think about it very personally. Would you agree that you are the cause of your own suffering? Are you prepared to take like full 110% responsibility for the suffering that you're coming through? Or do you think that something external is causing that to you? Is there somebody here that would see that, that would say that? Oh yes, Flora?
I would say that I have began to accept that I am responsible for my own suffering. I have begun to prioritize the things that, would bring me to that more, like less and less, I've been trying to just flatten myself out, if you think about it that way, Just stop focusing and worrying about so many little things and just chasing after so many little things and just flatten myself out, and just focus on me as an individual, and less about what I want to do and what I need to do. And I'm willing to take responsibility that me desiring those things and wanting those things and me feeling bad about, not being able to reach those goals and setting goals, that is all me, not the world and not anyone else's fault.
right? And I love that you're talking about goals and this image that you said, flatten yourself out. When you're talking about flattening yourself, the way I hear that is like flattening the ego, meaning you're not giving it so much importance. Or another way that I like to phrase that is you're getting out of your own way. Sometimes we kind of trip over ourselves. Like our desires, they are in the way of our happiness or our achievements, or they're very kind of unstable and not always very well planned. It's kind of it has this impulsive quality. So if you make an habit of pushing the ego a little bit aside, that's all you have to do. You don't have to suppress it. You just have to bring it, and don't bring it on the side and don't look at it, for a while, and it will go quiet. It's like a kid looking for attention, or a puppy. And so you spoke about goals, and there is an interesting experience, I think, about self-responsibility that I've had in the business world. We all know people who blame their families and their friends or their whatever social circles for what happens to them, and I mean that's okay. I probably have done that at some point in my youth as well, and it's like a phase. But then you see other people and I remember when I was younger, I used to be kind of impressed by these people that would say, "Oh, I did it. I committed the fault. It is my entire fault. It's me. I erred. I'm the bad guy." And that feels kind of unnatural especially when you were as immature as I was emotionally, because you're like, oh, there will be consequence. Somebody's gonna punish them for that mistake that they have just admitted. But then you see that people don't do that actually. When when you reveal your own fault, people tend to be understanding with you, and they will go, well, you shouldn't have done that. Now, what can we do to fix it? So you can kind of move into a more constructive phase and work together with them. And sometimes just nothing will happen. So it was part of my journey becoming an entrepreneur in what I thought was a self-made man back then, which is a big lie. But anyway, it was about taking responsibility for my action and precisely doing that, Floral, like saying, if I don't have the kind of success that I want, it's entirely my fault. If, I just have to work harder and do very like American dream type of mindset that I had. And then when I became an actual business leader and had a bunch of employees, they would make mistakes, and they had a very varying level of responsibility to them. Some would hide when they made a mistake, or they would stay at home. Some would blame somebody else. Some would throw a colleague under the bus quite easily. Others would admit to their fault. But what dawned on me very fast is that if you're a business owner, or if you're, let's say, just a parent, not only do you have to take responsibility for your actions, but you have to take responsibility for the actions of others. So it's not about just everything that you do wrong. It's about what everybody does wrong, and you're the one kind of justifying to the customer that why this went bad. So you cannot have ego and do that. Well, there are businessmen, of course, that fight their customers and then lose them. But I mean, if you really want to run a great business, you can't do that either. You have to be humble enough and take the ego, put it in a cupboard, walk there and say, hey, we messed up, sorry. Right? So it just goes to show that this is like, if you want to achieve something great in life and you want to live harmoniously with people, you do have to flatten yourself. It's a much more constructive approach. Then there was the next paragraph, if you remember, in the book, that was a bit more hopeful. It said that the mind causes this world of delusion, but also, and most importantly, that the world of enlightenment is also caused by the mind. So one way to illustrate that very simply is let's imagine two persons stuck alone, each in a different room, each with a TV. One is watching, I don't know, they only have one channel, right? So one is watching always like violence, assassins, war episodes. The other is watching on his TV set always like people traveling, learning about the marvels of the world, learning about gardening, stuff about nature, very innocent stuff. Now, if they were stuck in those rooms for a number of years and you brought them out and you would ask them based on what they saw, what their perception of the world is, I'm sure that they would have very different things to say. In the same way, your mind can be focused on samsara or suffering or, the behaviors that bring you suffering. Or it can be focused on something else that we would call nirvana, which is peace. Instead of being focused like on fear and desire and anger, you're basically focused on attention, love, and peace and contentment. Right? So there's no secret to this. You can be enlightened now if you decide to focus your attention, your entire attention and your entire being towards peace right now. The catch is you have to do that every moment because you have years and years now of practicing doing the opposite. You have years and years of deluding yourself with your desires and your angers and the separation illusions. So you want to become a perfect Buddhist tomorrow? You want to be the Buddha tomorrow? Just make the decision to be at peace in every moment, and you will be the Buddha. Good news is that it gets easier with time. And as you look from the gardening perspective, you realize also more and more how sick your violent perspective on the world really was. So it kind of brings more fuel to the jet engine. So finally, the scripture speaks about three viewpoints. One, that everything is predestined. Two, that everything is managed by the men upstairs. And third, that everything is chaotic and that there is no order. It kind of bothered me that they were saying these are wrong views. They're not like completely wrong. I think that the reason they call them wrong is because they are limiting beliefs. Like, couldn't we have a bit of everything? Causes and conditions appearing to us in manners that we can never fully understand and that sometimes look a bit random to us. And something is managing all that. Maybe not a guy with a long beard, but although I have a long beard, so I wish for that. But yeah, something is keeping this universe together, no? So we can have that as well. They're not like mutually exclusive. And the big problem, I'd say, with religion and spiritual traditions is when people start to say, well, my belief is better than yours, or my religious discipline is better than yours, and you're, well, don't really want to use that word, but let's say you're an infidel, or you're an heretic, to balance the things. No, there's just like one real profound human truth, and there are many ways to get there. So I'd like to close this talk maybe by thinking of this universe as a great painter that has a big palette and he's just mixing different colors. And these colors become new shades. And with these new shades, he paints different illusions. And when these illusions, just like when blue meets yellow, it gives green. When some causes and conditions meet, for example, you're driving a car very fast, you're very inattentive. Another person that is very inattentive crosses the street, you hit them. All of the causes and conditions for this accident to happen were there. So it's kind of like that. This great painter keeps on mixing colors, and these colors collide, and the phenomenon, including the people, the whole of nature that we experience, are just little manifestations painted on this huge canvas. So this would be the nature of the appearances in our world and why we have to get rid of this illusion of separation. We're all on the same canvas, probably painted by the same painter. So really, we're not that far apart, ever. So thank you for sitting through this little commentary today. And who's is here for the first time today? I know Floral, you are. I think obvious Alias also, it's your first time. Would you guys like to say a little word? Maybe introduce yourselves and tell us what brought you here.
I would go first. Let me stand up. I'm Floral. I prefer to go by Floral or Chase. I myself, I have grown up in a Catholic home, but I abandoned that years ago. I found throughout my life that I was realizing and understanding things in a lot of the ways that Buddhists do before I even knew what Buddhism really was and what it really meant. And now I am basically just trying to understand it more deeply and more intimately and expand my view even more. And that's mostly it. And I hope to come here more often.
Oh, you're definitely welcome. We have, well, I think most of the room is made of regulars today, so you can look around and see these names and those faces, and you're bound to meet again, I'd say. Sangha, I don't know how serious a Buddhist practitioner you are now, but Sangha is basically like a family. It's a practicing community, and it's meant to bind us farther than just sitting together half an hour a week. Right? How about you, Obvious?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had a lifelong interest in meditation and Buddhism, so I had to check this place eventually.
Good. Great. Welcome.
It's very cozy.
Happy to have
It's
you.
very cozy.
Oh yeah, it's not a stressful place, is it? So, all right. So usually we do a little sitting session together to close. So, and every Monday it's guided to make it easier for people who don't have an established meditation practice. So let us do that. For those whose first time it is, I'm going to ring the little singing bowl there, and bells will play every 10 minutes until the 30 minutes limit is reached, and then we will just disband and call off the assembly. And welcome back, Jared.
Thank you.
All right. So let's do that. Let us settle down. Let us breathe deeply. These 3 times, very deep, very slowly. So let us start scanning our body and releasing every little muscle, every little tension that we feel present, starting with the top of our head. So release the tensions in your skull, around the ear, all around your cranium, and especially around your eyes. Release tension around your eyebrows, all around the eye socket. And make sure that your eyelids are just falling naturally. It may help to close your eyes completely in the beginning, but you really want them like 1/4 open as you meditate, looking about 45 degrees in front of you. Then relax your cheeks, your chin, your jaw. You can let your tongue rest on the upper palate, and you don't have to clench your teeth. You can let that just relax. Let some hair pass through your lips if you want. A lot of us are doing a lot of sitting, so let us relax our neck and our back. Very important to have a straight back, though. Repeat my little trick. If you want to make sure that you're sitting upright, let your head fall straight on your shoulder, and you kind of move forward a bit and backward, and let this balancing act fall in the center. And then you can do the same thing laterally, balancing yourself a bit on the sides like this. And then you should find a good center for yourself. Relax your upper back, along the spine, all along the spine on each side. Release the tensions there. Down to the lower back. Make sure that your arms are falling softly on your laps. If you practice a mudra, you can hold that. If not, just putting your hands on your thighs is perfectly fine. But don't create tension in your chest. Make sure your chest is soft and your arms are loose, a little bit kind of folded. Then you can relax your thighs, the rest of your legs, including your feet and all of the extremities of your body. You can relax your hands and your fingers and try to relax to the tip of your toes as well. It's okay to sit on a chair or on the ground, or what's important is that you're stable and comfortable so that nothing hurts after a while, forcing you to move. Let us breathe a little more, but this time let us do it consciously. Take 3 deep breaths and tie your mind to the breath. Just follow the breath as it goes in and out. Our main practice during this phase of our meditation is to follow the breath. So if you feel like the mind is wandering away, just remember to bring it back to the breath and just follow it softly. I would also recommend that you mute yourself during meditation if you haven't done so, just not to incommodate our brothers and sisters. Now, if a thought arises, recognize it as a thought, call it thinking, give it a little kiss and let it go. If you feel an emotion, observe that feeling a little while in an uninvolved way. Give it a little kiss, let it go. If there's a hitch or something that's bothering you on your body, let it go too. And if you feel an urge to open your menu or check your phone or do anything compulsive like this, notice that your mind is doing that all the time. This is an addiction that is manifesting. So make a point to observe it and bring your mind back to the breathing. And let us follow the breath until the next bell. Have you met somebody that was sad or struggling recently? Or maybe you did. Maybe you were sad. Or maybe you were sad at any one point during 2020, or maybe you're still sad about the state of the world, this pandemic and the economy. You know, people keep on getting sick, and older people especially have had it tough in 2020. So let us think about those that we know on this new year that were impacted negatively by the pandemic in 2020. And let us breathe deeply, focusing our attention on the heart, and try to unpack that sadness. Most of us have been just reacting to all of this. Now it's time to unpack that sadness, to allow ourselves to be broken-hearted a little bit about the state of the world. In Buddhism, this is called letting your bodhicitta arise. So let our bodhicitta arise so that we develop a sense of compassion towards others. Let's understand that what happened to them could have happened to us. And let us try to share that pain for a while. Review 2020 in your mind by focusing your conscience on your heart and try and feel the feelings associated with the different images that will be conjured in your mind. Let us breathe deeply a few times and focus on that. You've been meditating for a while. You may have, or if you're a very sensitive person, you may feel that quite deeply. And even you may feel it in your heart and in your throat, and even tears could form in your eyes. And this is simply your heart as a human being expressing itself. Maybe some of you turned that off a long time ago, so today's exercise really is about getting in touch with that. Letting our suffering evacuate a little bit. And as we do this, while we are broken-hearted and experiencing that heart brokenness, let us also aspire for more positive things. Let us aspire that us personally can be part of the solution, can be part of the relief of that suffering. Let us aspire that as we learn to dance with our mind and with our desires, that less frustration, anger, and sadness will arise for us, and that out of that newfound fortitude, we will be able to help others. And we may join our hands in prayer, close our eyes, really focusing on this suffering and hoping, aspiring to be part of the solution. We may focus on our breath as a process of exchange. Let us take in the pain and the brokenheartedness as we inhale, and let us exhale light and relief on the world and on all of those people that we have known that have suffered in 2020. And this will be our practice until the next bell rings. You may visualize all the suffering as kind of black stuff that you're inhaling, and the relief as white light that you're breathing out. If that helps to remain focused. have trouble connecting, maybe try to focus on the more serious things, like think of all the people that died during this pandemic, and those whose death was especially difficult, and the people that will miss them. And if that didn't happen around you, try to imagine what it would have been like. Getting in touch with our vulnerability is what prevents wars. If you're insensitive, then you may step on others. But if you are acutely conscious of the suffering around you, if you walk this earth with a broken heart, then it becomes easier to not cause more suffering. It becomes easier to bring relief to others. These eyes that perceive suffering are also part of the eyes of enlightenment. This is what becoming a peaceful warrior really is about. Those that are new among us, this meditation that we have just practiced is a variation on what is called a Tonglen meditation, which is a meditation on compassion in the Tibetan tradition. So we have started with shamatha. We transitioned into Tonglen to open our hearts. And now, as we are relaxed, peaceful, maybe a little bit broken-hearted still, we just want to bring back those feelings and those aspirations in the world with us. You see, we want to become very sensitive humans. We want to hear that music playing in the background very clearly. You may open your eyes a little wider and even move slowly. Look at your colleagues meditating a little bit and at the leaves flying next to the windows of the Sangha. When you're sensitive, you can commune with the world. Even these leaves that are virtual can convey a feeling, a mood, a teaching to you. Our world is called Shoshin, which means beginner's mind, which is a state of humility and of sensitivity. It is the state of the student that knows nothing and that is ready to receive everything. That is only possible if you allow yourself to be vulnerable, if you allow your heart and mind to be touched. And the third phase of our meditation is called Vipassana, which is a discursive type of meditation aiming at understanding our world better. So you can make it a contemplation practice. You can look around here, but you can also do that obviously in real life. contemplating every activity that you do, as if you were not very involved, just with tremendous curiosity. Like your ego is not participating in that, there is only the moment and the thing happening. And these contemplations will reveal a new outlook on life and will allow you to become a better dancer. So let us focus on our breath, 20% of our attention, and use the rest of our mind to reflect on how we could become better dancers. Where the tensions are, where are they in our life? These tensions, these conflicts, these problems. Let us observe these phenomena and try and find a new way of approaching them. And let us practice that until the final bell. If you're feeling sleepy, that might actually be a good sign, because it means that your meditation is pretty much non-conceptual. You are not too focused on anything and you're letting everything go. Traditional remedies to sleep in meditation are opening your eyes completely and looking up. Also, you may extend your hands on your knees and kind of unfold your arms a little bit, making your chest a little bit tighter. So you want to have like a stronger warrior stance. And you can also try breathing a little bit faster. Short, fast breath for a few moments. And it will re-oxygenate your body. So if sleepiness is a problem for you, you can apply these 3 antidotes. Meditation has only value if you can bring it back in the world. So as you keep on pondering and reflecting about your life, come back slowly into the world. meditation today?
Good.
Yes,
I
Jared?
actually didn't fall asleep once.
Great.
I think.
Did it work? Did it work for you, then, you guys?
For the most part, I had some trip ups here and there, but it was very, very good.
It's you know, what is funny with meditation is that usually the most difficult it feels, the more it's actually working, because you're becoming conscious of all of those things. If you're just sitting and flying, then you're not really doing the work. So it's good. Shigam Trungpa used to call that the bliss of suffering. So if you're sitting on the cushion and having a really terrible experience, you're actually experiencing bliss, which is the bliss of suffering, which is telling you something. Right? How about you, Obvious? Did you manage to relax and get into the state? I don't
Yeah.
hear you well, but yes, you did. All right. So before we do the dedication, I just would like to thank Carl very much for porting part of our huge world, our huge PC world, to the Quest. I'm happy that now we can start welcoming Quest users, and I know that there are many out there. Even Julia now. How was your experience in VR, Julia? The first time, huh?
It got me dizzy in the beginning.
Right. It tends to do that.
Yeah.
I think you will get accustomed to it. So yeah, so thank you very much, Carl. And you know, we have this tradition of going to, in the PC world, we go to a cafe which is called Cateedo, and we have a little philosophical chat for those that want. Actually, what we do is that we basically reflect on our week, and if somebody has had an interesting insight or an interesting struggle, we just share about that. It's very cozy. We're sitting on sofas and just having a little chat. So unfortunately, the cafe has not been ported to Quest yet, but we will do that. It's a work in progress. But for now, for those that are on PC or on another VR system, I think we will invite you to join us. We will simply drop a portal and we can all jump into it and go have our little Dharma Cafe session. And to the other, to the Quest users with us, I'm just gonna say, well, hopefully next time we can do that with you guys as well. It's a very likable part, I think, of our gathering when you have the time to participate. So Julia, if you want to join me, let us do the dedication. Okay.
For the benefit of beings without exception, I dedicate without any reticence whatsoever all the merit accrued through virtuous acts to the incomparable expanse of totality.
Thank you. And for those who's the first time, I forgot to mention it in the beginning, but we basically follow the same person that we came behind when we entered the shrine. Now people arrived at pretty much any time during this session, so do your best. I will exit first, and you know, if you remember that you were behind me, you can follow me. And
I believe I came in behind you, Rico. Or Mar.
Actually, I think it was him because I arrived at the very end.
I completely forgot.
I forgot the order.
I have no idea.
I'm just gonna wait after call, like usual. So what you going to do, Kiryu? Gonna beat some more bad guys up?
Yes, indeed.
And then sing Baka Mitai, eh?
I could sing it. I could sing it, but not now.
Still have
I
to
actually
play the
know
new
it on
Yakuza
piano.
game. I actually still have to play the newest one that came out on PC.
Oh, yeah, I haven't played the newest ones. I haven't played it.
I actually heard it's really good, even with the change of gameplay a little bit. Quite interested.
Yeah, I browsed through a couple of the Yakuza games. I'm not like a diehard fan, but I really like the series. I really want to get more into it though.
I would start with Yakuza 0 if you ever want to start with one. It's actually the best introduction.
I'm planning on playing through all of them eventually. I'll get around to it one of these days.
Yeah. And remember, Kiryu never killed anyone, even though he probably beat a lot of them to the hospital with brain damage.
Yes. Listen, you don't kill them. You let the hospital bills do that. Okay.
Yes, indeed. Although I think they have less serious hospital bills in Japan compared to the USA. I mean, if Kiryu was in the USA, people would just rather die than be sent to the hospital. It's like, for fuck's sake, kill me already. It's too expensive otherwise.
Yes, I'd much rather go to the grave than the hospital, because at least then I don't have to worry about paying bills.
Yeah. Oh well.
Where's everybody else gone?
I think they went to through the portal while we were chatting, so I'll probably follow in suit.
Was Casper in, Carl?
Yeah, I'm here. I was kind of talking with Kiryu.
Does he come? Oh.
I was talking with Kazuma Kiryu about the Yakuza, so...
Oh. About the Yakuza, don't bring them here.
Oh well, he was actually meditating with us.
Oh, so cute.
He actually had the avatar of
How are you
Kiryu
doing,
Kazuma,
Orion?
so...
How are you doing, Orion?
Oh, hello.
You have great holidays?
Are you in stalking mode, Carl?
There's a lighting. Good, that's so cute.
Right. Hey guys.
Hey.
Right, so that's Kayo's that's Kayo's place. We lost her for a little while here during the holidays, but she's our host.
Yes, hello,
And-
welcome.
And we're gonna have all kinds of great conferences here. So you may see a cat walking around, and it won't be in the same spot for everybody because it depends when we connected. But since we've all joined now, it should be not too far either. For me, it's on the front there.
Still
the
needs
cat
to
was
purr.
there.
Wait for me.
Oh, now it's walking. Yeah.
Yes.
That's so nice.
So, don't trust the cat. They've been fed. Don't give them anything more.
They need to purr. Purr.
Yeah.
Don't
Are
take
you
it
leaving,
home.
obvious? Right now, don't take it home.
How's that one cat name called again? Schrodinger's cat? He's in one place and all at the same time, and not nowhere.
Exactly.
It's on every place in his path all at once.
Yeah, these are quantic cats, I guess.
They are there and they are not there.
Alright.
They are alive.
So the
and not
cozy
alive.
spot, the cozy spot really is on the second floor. That's where we like to do that. So. And there's another little kitty here.
Oh yeah.
Kitties, yay.
Although this one is pretty lazy.
Oh. Oh, God.
Yes.
Yeah, that cat is simultaneously in all dimensions. It seems lazy indeed.
Did we make you happy, Kayo? Are you happy with your new friends?
Yeah, that's awesome. They're so cute.
Great.
Actually,
So
my
Carl.
cat was meditating with me today.
Oh, nice.
Laid on my legs and was meditating.
Cats are natural Buddhists.
They are, and actually there is something called the lion's glance in Buddhism. Because a dog, if you take a ball and you fake that you're throwing the ball, the dog will kind of start running, trying to catch it, right?
Yeah.
But you cannot fool a feline like that.
No.
If you do this, it will just look straight at you and like, what are you doing? And so in Buddhism,
Maybe they're just too lazy to go after the ball.
Yes, they are.
Maybe, but in Buddhism, what they say is that we should have the lion's glance when confronted with illusion, that we shouldn't be distracted or fooled by the illusion. So we shouldn't be, what they say is be running after the ball either. Oh my, I wonder if I almost got out there.
Yeah, a little bit. Was it okay now?
Yes. I have the same problem.
I think more people might be joining. Yeah, it's probably people logging in.
Yeah, could be.
Right, there's a bunch more. Actually, we're in the public instance, I think, right now, so we might get visitors.
They will never find us.
They'll never find us.
You're free.
Okay, so need to change batteries. Battery's low.
Right, I will.
No, wait.
Crystal.
Carl needs something better than coffee. Hold on.
We are back.
Carl, here.
No,
Wet.
All right. So I guess the main question of Dharma Cafe is, how was your practice this week? Any struggle? Any interesting insights that we would like to chat about?
Oh yeah, I slept on the payfork. Yes, I almost slept on the payfork outside. Yeah, that was funny. Well,
what happened?
You see, the night store was almost closed. You see. And I wanted to get after some beverages, you see. But in my hurry, I kind of forgot that I have kind of an anxiety of going outside in general, and I'm not used to running anymore. But because I was kind of so forgotten the idea that the store was going to close any minute, I sprinted like a madman there. And the moment I was in the store and stopped running, I was like, oh, okay. I'm in trouble now. And yeah, I came out of the store and I was like, oh, I'm going to lose conscious here. So I just lie down. Lie down on the floor while my heart was beating out of my chest, and I was like, oh, this is fun. I feel like a homeless man now. There was a bank close by and it was kinda heated there, so I just crawled inside and lied there. People came inside and said, are you doing okay? And I said, nah, not really. Yeah, I can see that. And then they walked back outside and was like, thank you for your thank you for your empathy. Thank you. Come again.
Oh
I'll just lie here.
So tell us, how much did you make? How much money was there in the hat afterwards?
What money?
Oh, you didn't put a hat to collect money. At least this is the least they could have done. Give you $1 or something.
No. To be fair, although I wouldn't say it's an excuse, I would say that people didn't want to help because now every time they see something unusual, it's, oh, that person might have corona. Oh, that person might have corona. So even a single cough and
right.
people start panicking. But although in all seriousness, I've seen people just walk past other people that were clearly might need some assistance, but you know, people, especially when there are a lot of people, they're like, someone else will take care of it, and just, yeah, you know, that was kind of a sad reality. I was thinking I might have actually had a heart condition here, and they would just walk by. But on the other hand, I was kinda happy to encounter such a scary event, because now I know that I can survive such encounters. It just sucked and felt horrible afterwards. But I didn't die, I think. Yeah.
Well,
That's nice.
unless you gave your login and password to somebody else, I would say that you're pretty much behind this little guy here.
Yeah. I think I'm
but,
going to
how
start.
did you get
So
out?
I'm gonna have to leave now.
Oh, well, eventually,
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.
eventually after 20 minutes lying down, I kinda felt strong enough to go, and I kinda got in call with Carl, and then I lay down in bed, and I could barely speak. That was the first time being so labored out. Even speaking was like, I kinda was saying, was speaking always this difficult? It felt like every word leaving my throat was like a weight in itself. And I was like, I'm still gonna play Minecraft, I still have to dig my way to the nether. I'm not gonna fall asleep. And I fell asleep for 9 hours straight.
Wow.
Yeah, I was still... But yeah, I think...
What's your takeaway from this?
Well, apart from my anxiety still that I'm going, I was still taking running, like just average running that I do, you know, to get used to and to get my body in shape again. Just in general, getting used to the idea that even though your heart is increasing, it doesn't always mean a heart attack, and you know, the anxious stuff that comes with it. But I always was kind of afraid when my heart rate went to, let's say, 160, or I was like running fatigue. I was like, I don't like this feeling. But now with this new experience that I truly felt like, oh crap, this is the end of me. I think those past running fatigues are nothing compared to those. But yeah,
right.
I survived it, so it was a learning experience.
You know, unfortunately, it seems that your practice didn't kick in like at the appropriate moment to prevent this anxiety. But I do feel that this extreme that you have been experiencing there is helping you find balance in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of have this theory that it is impossible to find warm water without kind of making the water too cold or too hot in the beginning.
Yeah.
You have to experience both on comfort zones to find the comfort zone. And so hopefully it will make every other little episode that you have much easier to bear now.
Oh yeah.
You think that's going to be the case?
I noticed something very peculiar though. Even with my just average running, even though I often stop when my heart rate goes a little bit too higher than I like. To be fair, that's almost anything above 120, which is almost always the case when you start running. But what I experienced is these heart palpitations I usually have with anxiety, especially emotional anxiety, like if someone starts yelling at me, I feel threatened, I feel fear. Like I tend to have like heart skips, like don't know if anyone ever experienced that. It sucks. It's nothing really dangerous. My doctor says so as well, but it's a sucky feeling. But I don't get those during physical demanding stuff, like running. And even when I was laying down on the pavewalk and my heart was beating out my chest, I didn't felt like any arrhythmia disturbance.
You know why?
Not really,
When
no.
when you're running, you're activating like a fight or a fight response in your body actually. So you're preparing for a fight. So you know, as you're running, you're pumping more blood. It's like all of your body and your personality will kind of become more solid and harder. So that you can defend yourself properly. And so that's why like your heart, your mind becomes a bit insensitive to what is around it as you are focusing on the physical exertion. But I really like this idea of yours, Casper, of going outside and you know, getting accustomed to these heartbeats running faster and
well, now I actually had the
for
feeling of
anxiety.
almost crashing down, literally, because I had to lie down on... I suddenly am not so afraid anymore of just normal running fatigue, but I still ponder why the heart skips do happen with emotional stress. Like if someone is upset at me or I feel like I'm to blame.
It's the same. It's the same. It's your fear is a threat, so your body is psychosomatically preparing to defend itself. So by pumping more blood, it's actually pumping more oxygen in the muscles, and so that's why it starts to skip and shake and move, because it's getting ready if you need to run or if you need to fight. So don't be too spooked by it. It's a normal
yeah, well, it's
you know, action.
Yeah, I know, but it's really it's a scary feeling. Heart skips, like it's like, oh, did my heart just stop? Oh, there it is again.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
And so I don't know if somebody can upstage you this week, Casper. Anybody else just slept on the street this week?
No,
I'm
no,
just
Casper,
kidding. That's an amazing story. Yes, Mark.
But did you try fitness in VR to get your heartbeat higher? And then if you have more anxiety, you go and meditate?
The thing is, my anxiety is most of the time when I go outside. I feel like I developed some kind of small, I think it's called agoraphobia, by locking myself almost inside. So I mean, I can doing fine, like my heart rate is like below 100, and all the time I leave the house, suddenly my heart is like, okay, it's time to go up, it's time to go up. And but yeah, you know, I have been doing better. A couple of months ago I barely could even drive the car anymore. It got really bad, but yeah, now I can go to different towns. I can actually go to different stores in the area and come back. Although sometimes I still catch.
It's really nice to hear.
Sometimes I still catch myself, like I'm walking in the store and I like, this is a fun feeling. I don't feel anxious. I wonder how long this is gonna last. Ah crap! I just jinxed myself. Did I? Did I just jinx myself? Yep, I just jinxed myself.
Yeah, but you're aware now of that mental chatter, so that's very good progress. I feel you're making, Casper, every week. I'm happy to hear about that. So aside from not having maybe something spectacular, did somebody else have a little insight, struggle, or just a general question maybe about their practice this week?
Well, I have a struggle.
Yes.
Okay. I'm an alcoholic, so I feel really bad about it.
All right.
And I don't know how to deal with it, so
Okay. Have you tried some things already?
only meditation. It didn't really work.
What kind of meditation would you try for that?
Well, just focusing on my breathing. That's all I do.
Okay. All right. So that's shamatha. The Buddhist approach for all kinds of addiction, not just to alcohol, but the same to if you have an addiction to drugs or chocolate cookies, it's pretty much the same thing. It's always the same pattern. And psychologists would tell you that, like, at the bottom of addiction, there is a basic search for pleasure.
Yeah.
So
I know.
it's like you're looking for a moment of relief, maybe from stress, maybe for life circumstances that are not ideal, and then you basically kind of auto-medicate yourself into joy, right? Or into relaxation.
Yeah. Yes. I know the theory, but I don't know how to beat it.
Do you want to know how I quit smoking? Would that help?
Yes. Yes, please.
All right. So I was a heavy smoker. I started smoking as a teenager and was smoking almost 2 packs a day, and I did that for I don't know how many years, but many years. And I have asthma from birth, so that was a very bad idea. So I would keep, like lung infections all the time, and like yearly pneumonia, and to me, coronavirus is nothing. I can have 2 for breakfast every day, no problem. So the way I stopped smoking, it was on the guidance of my master, Shogyam Trungpa, and the method he had developed was very simple. One, don't beat on yourself, okay? Relapses happen. It's an addiction. It's normal. Like, there's a pattern in your brain and in your heart right now bringing you back to it. So if you have another, that's okay. So you start with that. And then just wonder why you're doing it every time. So what happened for me with cigarettes is I would smoke one like just after waking up in the morning, maybe with coffee or whatever. And this would be, I would ask myself, why am I smoking this one? And the answer was something like, oh, this is to wake up. And then I would have a meal and maybe have another one, and then it would be like, oh yeah, and I don't know if other people smoke there, but I think it's very common to have a cigarette after a meal, and we kind of have this idea that, oh, this one is to digest, I don't know the logic behind that, but you have a meal, you smoke a cigarette. And then during the workday, sometimes I would get out and have a cigarette outside, and this one I realized that it was to release stress. And then sometimes I would smoke at the end of a hard day to reward myself and say, oh, this one was tough. So sometimes I would smoke to celebrate, and sometimes I would smoke also because I was feeling overwhelmed and I wanted a little moment with myself. And so basically, of all, I don't know, like 40 cigarettes I smoked every day, they all had kind of their excuse attached to them. But they were all also related about me taking time with myself, like in the wrong way. It was me taking a time off from the world. And there was also like the social cigarette. Like if you go in a bar back in the days, you could smoke everywhere. You would offer a cigarette and it would be a conversation starter. You could do that at the doors outside of buildings. And so I would just keep a little log, actually, of every time I smoked, why I smoked this cigarette. And the idea is to raise your consciousness. Why am I doing these things? And I did this very slowly. It took me 2 years to quit smoking. And the way it would work is cigarettes would kind of fall off me. For example, the break cigarette was one of the easier ones to get rid of because it was not connected really to any other activity. So just by kind of skipping the break, I could skip this cigarette. And what happened is that I was noticing that I had to develop new emotional tools. Basically, what you probably are lacking is you don't really know how to reward yourself in a good way, or you maybe never took time to have like a wholesome good hobby or good habit, and because some people reward themselves with running in the morning or with eating carrots or whatever it is that they enjoy. But when you have an addiction, you tend to go back to that for kind of all purposes, I know that drinking also works like that, to celebrate because you're down, because you're stressed, because you're not stressed, and so on.
And because you're happy.
Because you're happy, yes.
Yeah. It's so wrong.
Happier.
It makes no sense.
Well, exactly. So the process that I went through
it makes sense, but it's
mentally
so
and
stupid.
emotionally. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, so the process I was going on mentally was, wow, is this, the feeling that dawned on me is, man, I'm handicapped. I am disabled. I don't know. And especially the worst one was like, how am I going to relate to people? Like, it was easy to extend a pack of cigarettes and offer a cigarette to break down the ice. But it was another ball game to walk to somebody and say, hey, how are you doing? Without me knowing them, So I had to re-educate myself, like socialize in another way. Obviously, you don't hang with the same people because if you stop smoking, you're not going out anymore. And the other thing is that if you drink a lot, you're going to be hanging with other people that drink, and if you smoke, you're going to be hanging with other people that smoke. So that's another thing that it goes into your relationship and the whole of your life. So as you realize that, you have to change a quantity of life habits, and that's why it took me 2 years actually, because each cigarette, one by one, was like a teaching. And I remember that the 3 last ones were just the meals. For some reason, I couldn't give up those 3 ones. They were just there. If it had been beer, my problem, it might have been, I don't know, like the Christmas beer or the Friday beer. There was kind of this very well ingrained pattern in me that I was not really willing to give up. I played relaxing after my meal and made little rings of smoke and kind of enjoyed myself. So I became conscious that I really didn't want to get rid of those. And so at this point, I just started reflecting on how it would impact people around me, my kids, and this and that. And then I found motivation to just drop these 3 altogether and never smoked again. Before that, I had tried nicotine patches, I had tried gums, I had tried, name it, I tried it. Nothing would work because I was trying to fix my problem with external means, while what I needed was to re-educate myself. So it's difficult. I feel that, I don't know if you've ever been to the AA, but they have a 12-step program.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, have you ever tried that?
No, I haven't.
So you see, that's a good way, a good place to start, because it gives you a new social environment of people who at least are trying not to drink, or they're drinking less, at least.
Yes.
Also, the 12-step program is about raising your consciousness about why you're drinking, who you're hurting, or least of which is yourself, right? Yeah. And so they have these exercises and then they speak together, but they also do great things together. They go fishing together, they go hunting together, they do, whatever. It depends on the club, obviously, but it's really not about some people getting together and crying because they're having one drink too many. That can happen, but the focus is building a new life, not being miserable on the past one. So I feel if you would pick up a practice as I'm describing of being very conscious of every drink you take, and like put yourself in a favorable environment like this, it won't do miracle, but it might easily triple your chances of making it. And don't forget first thing, because the first thing you told me was that you felt bad about having this problem.
Yes.
Well, so don't feel bad about yourself having this problem. You said it. It's stupid. It's a stupid problem, and you can get rid of stupid things, but don't beat yourself, because you're just going to create more displeasure, and you will want to get drunk over that.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
So weird.
maybe I can say something here.
Yes.
Oh.
Sure, Casper.
Okay, go ahead.
Jarrod, can I ask how old you approximately are? Just before I tell my tale.
I'm 42.
I'm 30 years old at the moment. My dad died of suicide in 2012, and for guilt reasons that I thought I couldn't save my dad, I almost spent 7 years drinking straight. I quit now for 2 years. I finally succeeded in it, but part of my anxiety is because I'm still trying to get used to the world around me without being in a constant state of influence. But I've been through that process, and it would come that I would almost drink like 10 to 12 cans a day. So yeah, I know what it was like. That I lost many friends, I had issues with family, I really went down the deep, but it's the first thing, of course, and that's of course if you realize, and it's often said, but it's to know that you have a problem indeed, because for a very long time I even went to a psychological hospital once, to get better for myself, but I went out and immediately restarted again, because at that state in my life I still said, well, it's not me, it's because of them. If they would treat me better, if my friends would not ditch me, if my mom would pay more attention, I would always see outside sources why I fell back. It wasn't my fault, it wasn't my issue. If my environment was different, because I'm a creature of my environment, then I would be in a better place. But that's actually the biggest lie you can tell yourself, because it is actually starts and eventually it should also end with you. And that's one of realizing that it has to come from yourself is a very difficult thing. And I went to another psychology course. This time I was successful in it, but with my newfound sight, with how I view things, I saw that a lot of people, even when they were improving, would just fall back into addiction again, just for the simple mindset that they said the same thing. Oh, I feel better now after these 2 months of psychological evaluation. Now I can control it. So they would go outside and it would be the same thing again.
You hear that a lot from gamblers as well, which is another addiction. They think they can not only control their habit, but even luck, which is amazing. The stories that we tell ourselves when we really just want to indulge.
I can even say that even because of alcohol was almost a partly schedule in my days, that I enjoy foods a lot more and just beverages a lot more. Now I stopped drinking than before, because before I kept urging and wanting the next drink more than the meal I was going to be served, or I was in a hurry to finish the meal so I could get another drink. Even when playing video games, I wouldn't really I would get bored of playing with my friends, because I just needed to drink something first to get my mood up to speed. And for me, for a long time, it was because, I feel relaxed, because it did, I do have to say this, and they might say, don't say this, but it kind of worked better to a certain extent than medicine alcohol, that my anxiety dropped down to a zero. I wasn't afraid anymore. I never felt fear. But
small amount works, but
yes, it works. It works, but the next day you feel twice as anxious.
Casper,
and
I would agree. I would agree with that. That maybe this remedy that you have found is a better remedy than chemical pharmaceutical products. The point is that they're both poisons.
Yes, indeed.
So
but
are you just gonna ingest a lesser poison? Right?
Yes, no. I wasn't gonna say that. What I meant to say is that the thing is, the reason why I didn't feel anything like fear is because alcohol made me feel nothing, because it just made me completely numb, and that's the feeling you're striving for. But you can't also really feel the real things around you anymore when you're in constant numb state. And getting sobering up can be one of the most frightful experiences, while other people see it as normal. But the thing is, it's how life should be lived, and I feel a lot better mentally wise, even though I do still struggle with anxiety, as I told. But other than that, I feel physically more fine and mentally more fine, and I'm quite proud of it so far. But it's already good that you said to yourself that you have a problem, because that's something most people don't are able to acknowledge. But yeah, that's my tale. That's my tale.
Jared, Casper, you're making me realize that we can also be a little bit of your AA group because this is just coffee here.
I guess so.
And if you want, I can even make that tea instead.
Can I share something?
But I feel that this gathering is helping all of us in a way, especially this little session of the Dharma Cafe that we have started
Can I share
recently.
something?
Please do.
Yeah, I was thinking about cigarettes. Like, I didn't consider myself an addict, but I smoked for many years. Maybe like on an occasion when I was having fun with friends, drinking. It usually goes hand in hand, those two things. And I was going through a very stressful time in my life, and it was a coping thing, stress and cigarettes. But eventually I noticed that, even though I didn't smoke much, I noticed that it hurt my lungs. Like, there was a correlation. And, when I realized that, I was talking with my, doctor about it, and, they said that, okay, I'm not a heavy smoker, and maybe this is not a priority thing, and maybe these other factors in your life might be, more important at the moment. But once you're dealt with them, maybe ease off the cigarettes. So maybe if punish yourself, thinking about too much about, okay, this is a bad thing, I'm doing it, and somehow you develop this toxic relationship, so you end up doing it because you feel bad about it as well. But there's another thing, like what I noticed was when I thought about it, I still smoked a bit, but I decided to smoke mindfully, like just going through the experience, what I was actually doing. And I noticed that nicotine is very short-lived. It gives you the impression that, you get, it relaxes you, but it's very short-lived. And the anticipation has more to do with, addiction. I think dopamine is not, a chemical of, rewarding, but, anticipation. I think there's studies about it. Anyways, and I realized that, okay, this was not like an actually good thing to do. And when I realized that, I started thinking about it. Like when I had the need to smoke, I went through in my head all the the experience of what is smoking. And I always ended up in the conclusion that it's gonna just hurt my lungs. I'm not gonna get any joy out of it. Not real joy. It's just gonna hurt me. And I just dropped it. Called turkey. So,
Right. Yeah, that's also a great approach. And with drinking, people sometimes think of the hangover that they're gonna get, or liver cirrhosis, and the more difficult complications that it can bring. I don't have anything more very, very intelligent to say about it, but it just made me think of something I find funny. In Ecuador, where we live part of the year, they have like old tribes, and they have a word for hangover that is called chuchaki. So if you drink too much tomorrow, they say, I'm chuchaki. And I think it's an old Inca or something like that word. But they also invented chuchaki seco, which I guess is even worse, because that's like dry chuchaki. It means you didn't drink and you just have the headache. That would be probably you just hungover for no reason at all. So that's very undesirable. I guess was my point. So does any of that speak to you, Jared? Everything that you're hearing right now?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Yeah, I find that very interesting. I have no experience with addiction, but I find it very interesting to hear.
Oh, you know what? I don't believe that. And you might be the exception, but I believe that like 99.9% of us.
And no drinking. Okay. Maybe I have some other, but.
Yeah, yes. So for some people it's sugar, for other it's salt, other it's selfies, whatever, whatever gets your jam on. Yeah. So maybe gaming, but it's very interesting when you realize that whatever it is, and no matter how inoffensive your addiction might be, it's like hardwired in the human being to develop addictions. Especially in modern society, where rewards and gratifications are so easy to access and to get. So to be conscious of that is, as you were mentioning, I think, Casper, half the problem solved. I've had friends, I've spent my life in the high-tech world, and I've had friends who went into closed therapies because they were addicted to technology and they couldn't stop chatting and being on Facebook and being on, all of that stuff. Which I think many of us spend a lot of hours doing, but just don't think of as necessarily an addiction or that big of a problem. But it's because we're losing perspective. Just the phones.
I saw The Social Dilemma on Netflix. Also a really nice documentary.
Oh, is it the one that they have all the ads of the ex-heads of the social networks talking about how the algorithms work,
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. But just think of the cell phone. If you think you don't have an addiction, just think of the cell phone, and just think what happens if you go into your car without your cell phone and notice that you don't have it. You go nuts. You just go running back to get it, and I mean, sometimes it doesn't even matter how far down the road you are. You just want the cell phone back. Why? Because this thing is a constant source of gratification. It brings news, information, entertainment. It's pleasure at your fingertips.
Terrible.
Oh yeah, it's
bored. We want to grab our phones. We're not creative
It's
enough.
on the weird one. I don't care about my phone. I can leave it at
Yeah, but
home.
you're
fine.
42, Jared. We understand why you don't care about your phone too much. No, but I mean, you're blessed. You're blessed that you're not of that generation.
Yes, I am.
I'm about your age, and I do use my phone all the time because I've been an IT executive all my life. It just doesn't compute how I could achieve what I'm achieving right now without this tool. But at the same time, this tool tricks me out of my life all the time, So it's difficult. But if you're conscious of it, at least, it's a little progress on the battle. sometimes I wish I could just throw it in the sea.
Or
and forget about it
wasting your
completely.
time, or wasting your time choosing wallpapers for your smartphone, and then realizing after hours, setting a good wallpaper, that you barely look at it, because you always open apps and the wallpaper kind of disappears.
Well, my entire phone is black and white, so I solved that. But
quite symbolic.
But you know, notification. So I can tell you about one thing that I've done though with my phone that I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I did is I had hourly bells ringing on my phone, and they were meditation bells. And when they did ring, I considered that a call of attention. So I would just bring my mind back and just ask myself, what am I into right now? How am I feeling? How's my body? How is my mind? Am I stressed? Am I feeling right? So every time I would hear that bell, I would use my phone that is always with me to help become more conscious. And then, you know, on Facebook, I've unsubscribed from everything that I was, all the groups and everything. So that I had subscribed over the years because friends sent me requests, or I saw something and for 5 minutes it looked funny and I liked it. So I removed all of that. And then I planned consciously of content I wanted to have. So then for me, I started selecting a lot of Buddhist meditation stuff, you know, spiritual. I tried to eliminate all of the good news and all of the stupid, empty stuff out of my feed and packed it with the more interesting and constructive things that really would contribute something to my life. So, you know, although I keep on being interrupted by social media, usually when I do now, it's kind of something usable or that will make me think or make me a bit more conscious. Now, you know, I'm kidding you guys a little bit. Probably like 70% is still crap, but at least it's not 100%. You know.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that also. So I only use my Facebook for events and to organize events with friends. So sometimes I scroll through it, but I don't look much at it. Because I know how it can affect if someone does something nice and you're sitting and you're doing nothing. That also can give some emotions or something. So.
Just a quick question. Are you from the Netherlands?
Yes.
Oh, Carl, DEFCON for me. DEFCON, this Belgian is going away. Nope, nope.
Bye. Houdoe. Later.
Just maybe last words, at least my last words on this topic. Be wary of something with addiction, and it is what they've been using even in psychiatric hospital and what I would call replacement therapy. You know how a lot of people that stop smoking grow fat? and the reason for that is that instead of rewarding themselves with cigarette, they start rewarding themselves with cupcakes and all kinds of. So they have not healed the
replacing one
emotional
with the
handicap.
other.
Exactly, they're just stuffing themselves with something else.
That's why we had a limitation with caffeine we could drink over there, because people would constantly drink coffee because they couldn't drink.
Right.
Wow.
So I grew close to a psychiatric hospital that was managed by Catholic nuns. And what they were doing there to treat addiction is that they were replacing addictions by cigarettes. They would have the mental patients smoking, and they would also have the mental patients becoming very passionate about religion and about money making. Because the reasoning was that if you put them back in society afterwards, they can pacify through cigarettes, they will have value through religion, and they will be functioning members of society by trying to gather money. So they would purposefully addict them to these three things before releasing them back in the world, calling them now functional. You know, and I mean, there are weird cases, like somebody is addicted to masturbation or, you know, carrying a doll around. So these were the cases. So they would change these strange or dangerous addictions for these three, let's say, lesser evil. But, I mean, you would talk to them. They were still completely nuts just about other things.
Of course,
So,
it was run by Catholic nuns. What do you expect? I mean...
There's also a positive change, but how positive?
Right? So it's one thing if the Catholic nuns are doing it to you, and it's another if you're doing it to yourself. It's probably worse if you're doing it to yourself. So if you are starting to move away from Facebook, but I don't know, like you're getting more into Discord or you're moving more away to Discord, and this is making more time to go to the bar or feeding anything else that is unwholesome and kind of treating your feeling of void, then you're just fooling yourself. And this is very subtle to detect. And it's very difficult to like really, really heal and not replace. And that's my, I guess that's my challenge for you guys. Try to find your addiction and try to heal it without replacing. And then you can call yourself a man.
Blessed.
I can also talk a bit about. I had a problem with exactly what you said, like overeating, because that was also my coping mechanism when I was dealing with depression. So yeah, it's been on and off thing, and I found that I'm maybe still struggling with it. I developed an actual eating disorder. But I went like on the other end. I started looking into ketogenic diets, and I did it for successfully for a long time. But then I regressed, and every time I regress, it's a slippery slope. And that is the hard lesson that I have to learn, how I develop a healthy relationship with carbohydrates, normal food. I'm again back on ketosis. This time I think I'm much more like neutral about normal food, but I still feel that ketogenic diet fits me better. That's also a segue to what I experienced today's meditation. My body is still going through adaptations, so it was a bit hard to focus, maybe that kind of buzzing in the background, but I acknowledged it.
Right. By the way, if you've never read about that, diet has a big impact on your meditation capability. That's one reason most Buddhists are vegetarian. You tend to be a lot more peaceful if you're eating vegetables than if you're eating lots of protein, lots of meat. And I don't know why. There are lots of ideas about this, but I don't really care why. I just know that.
Yeah, I think everybody has their own diet. Like I wouldn't, think too much about it. Like I've noticed that it works for me. I don't recommend it to anybody. I think it's a very like extreme diet for somebody to try on it on their own. I wouldn't recommend it, but for me it works, and I live with the side effects. I acknowledge
but your
them,
soul,
and over time it gets easier. So yeah.
But you're also kind of looking for balance now, which is what you were talking, which goes back to the point we were making with Casper earlier, that when you experience those extremes, you kind of understand what's wrong on both ends, and then you can slowly move back to something that really works for you. So, hey, guys, I've enjoyed myself a lot. I'm gonna let you chat among yourselves if you want, because I have to move out of here. But thank you so much for being here.
Wait a second. Let's do a photo together. Let's do a photo.
Oh yeah, sure.
I want a photo with Keanu, please.
You want a photo of what?
With Keanu, with Jared.
Piano.
Let's do a photo.
I only have one controller for some reason, though. Kind of hard for me to move.
How do you want us set up?
Maybe.
Should we go there, or on the stairs, or on the sofa?
Maybe on the sofa.
It
will be cozy.
Okay, so let's stay on the sofas then. But who's the official photographer?
I think someone with a camera and VR set would do it. Because on PC we can't.
I have that, but I don't know how to use it. That's pathetic, right?
Carl, could you do a photo, please? And I will do another with you. Thank you.
That's kind. Thank you, Carl. Turn name tags off, Carl. Cheese.
Smile.
And you know, you don't know this guy. We're gonna have like Hollywood effects on the photo afterwards.
Alright, now we are time.
I hope so.
With fireworks.
This thing is gonna move and talk.
Alright, then. Thank
Goodbye,
you all for
everybody.
being here.
Goodbye.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Goodbye.
See you.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye.
Enjoy. And I don't remember who did that last week, but I found it funny, so I'll do the same. I'm leaving, walking. See?
Ah, I missed that. Oh. And he's gone. How late is it?
Hello.
Oh. Almost bedtime.
Hi. Well, I've joined a meditation every single Monday, so hope you enjoyed the F chat.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, I have to say.
Yeah.
You know, I learned some stuff that would probably help me too. You know.
Well, for some reason my left hand doesn't work anymore. It's broken. Only have my right hand. Oh.
This cat is really
Well,
lazy.
I actually need to go sleep now. It's getting real late.
Well, then.
Okay, sleep well.
Hello.
Good night.
Hello.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Sleep
night.
well.
Goodbye.
Nighty night. And don't let the senpai bite.
Can you speak, Carl? Oh, you can.
Oh, you'll miss
no,
that
Carl.
joke.
What happened to you?
Oh.
No.
What happened to your
He's
voice?
mute today.
Oh no.
No.
His voice died. Oh no.
But you did a really good job with the map or the meditation. It was great. Yeah, beautiful. I was not expecting it.
This place is so cozy. I like it.
Yeah, it is. Hello, Aria. How are you doing?
Nothing really. Just, I don't know.
I understand that.
Yeah, just hanging out, I guess. Was just listening. You know.
I really like talking with everybody. Like, I think we have so many things to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nice.
Yeah.
Mm.
Although I will not hide that I even got my situations of my own, and hearing yourself talking was like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. That's always the thing. Everybody has something.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody has struggles.
Yeah, it's like everyone has their package that they have to deal with, but not everyone is ready to show it, you know, because sometimes it's like a physical package and sometimes it's a mental package and sometimes it's mixed, you know. And like in my case, I can hide it, but if you know me, you won't. It will be pretty obvious, you know. And like it's like everyone just has a package that they deal with, like of problems. Yeah.
Yeah, that's life.
I mean,
Sadly.
there was something that I wanted to share with Senke, but I wanted to let others talk first. Is that I remember this experiment in it was a American psychiatrist, I think. I just remember his last name. It was Skinner, and basically he has this experiment. He has two rats inside a cage, two cages, two separated cages with one rat on each one. So there's one rat that has sorry, there are two bottles of water in each one of the cages. One water is normal water and the other one has cocaine or I don't remember, it's a drug inside. And then basically for one rat there's nothing else to do. There's only just like the cage. It has nothing to do, no toys, no other rats, nothing at all, just food and water with cocaine. And on the other
Okay, I'm back.
cage, there are toys, there are things that the rat can do. There are even other rats, so it's not alone. And this experiment marks me a lot because guess which one of the rats goes for the cocaine?
The one that's
rat
bored.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
bored. It's alone. It's depressed. Has nothing else to do. Finish it going for the cocaine, and the other one doesn't get it. And sometimes I feel like the rat.
Yeah, I think this is a very good point that you're making. I think this is like why these kind of progressive like drug laws are like, in my opinion, a good thing. There was like thing about Oregon, I think it was recently, that decriminalized all drugs. And the point is that you don't punish these people who are addicted. They are already already suffering, and instead you give them options to come clean and give them like this social security net, lots of places to get help for their addiction. And I think that is once you stop criminalizing these kind of people, you solve these kind of bigger community issues with users who are addicted to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I think everyone needs to learn in society that boredom is something to deal with. But we're not getting bored because we have so many stuff. So we have our phones, we could be busy, and when we are bored, we can take something.
Still be bored.
I think one of the reasons why we easily get bored in these days is because honestly, we have no real goals in our daily life because we all follow the same schedule, but we're especially here in the West, we're overly satisfied with everything. We have all the food, we have all the drinks, we have all what we need. But back in the day, I mean, you didn't have time to be
scavenging for food.
Yeah, you didn't have time to be bored. You had to wake up. You needed to get food because you were hungry, and after that, you had to do this because it was going to be night and it was going to be cold. And being successful in these daily challenges just to get through the day was a relief and a reward in itself. To get by next to the warm fire, to eat the foods that you hunted or worked so hard for. But we all get those things on delivery by now, you could say. We have them all in quantities. We have so much empty space in our days, and we don't know how to fill it in properly. That gives us a feeling of meaning. So we just get bored.
I think when people have a community and a purpose and a routine and these kind of things, when they feel like their life is in balance, they don't go looking for drugs or any kind of these other extreme stuff that they can get addicted. That's always a coping mechanism when they are like suffering so much that they want to dull themselves. Healthy like individuals don't end up in those kind of situations, and I think helping others out of those kind of situations by understanding this kind of thing is a way to go.
We need to find meaning in
definitely.
our days ourselves, and instead, I about finding meaning in your daily life, or finding a schedule that gives you meaning, so you're fulfilled and don't go like in addiction to get your needs. I often discussed with people. Funny enough, these discussions often happened at a cafe when I was drinking with my buds. The writers, we all get philosophical when we are drunk, but whatever the case. Yeah, we were talking about what's the meaning of it all? What's the meaning? Why should I even try this? Has it any particular meaning beyond us? Has it but I was like, it kind of dawned me more when I saw that one Rick and Morty episode with that robot that passed the butter. What is my purpose? And suddenly Rick told him, you pass butter, and the robot was like, oh my god. The moment you've been told what your purpose is, you might not be actually happy if it doesn't align with what you were hoping for. So actually this having no purpose in life, like in its own, actually gives you the biggest freedom that you can create a purpose for yourself the way you want it, instead of that it is being laid upon you.
As the Buddha say, be content with your life. That's the best way. Accept everything how it is.
Because I often be told, like what my friends said, I wish they sometimes would say, I wish there was like a greater purpose for us, and I was like, what if there was one, but we wouldn't be happy about it? What if the greater purpose of us, for example, let's say for the sake of the universe, the Earth needs to give all their earthly resources to benefit their planet or benefit their being or whatever, so you have to work day and night for the sake of the universe. Yeah, whatever shit, you know. I mean, you wouldn't be happy because it's not fun for you. But the thing
you
is,
have to work for the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if there is no greater purpose laid upon you, that means that you have actually the ultimate freedom to create your own purpose. You just have to find one that fits you.
We all
I
go
must
for the
admit
spaghetti
that
monster.
looking for that, it can be very scary, man.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, I'm coming from a Latino family. We're not Catholic, but we live in a Catholic culture, you know. Mexico is a pretty much a religious country, and having this affronted once I got to live in Europe, I realized that there were no barriers saying you like what to think, what you should do, what's expected to you. You're free, but it can be very, very scary as an experience.
Oh yeah, it's kind of the same. Like, I think, especially in religion, religion is very simplistic. That you have your holy Bible. If you do this, you go to hell. If you do this, you go to heaven. How did this started? You don't think about it. It's God, or it's this. But when I look at outside the universe, I see countless of possibilities, and I see beauty in it, in the vastness of space and all of the possibilities that could be beyond our scope of comprehension. But I know people that just seeing the whole freedom of it all, they are scared and terrified to the very core of their human being. They are terrified. So they rather have this book that tells them how everything is already planned, because I do have to say it's very, sometimes ultimate freedom is indeed terrifying in its own right, because people like to be told that everything is safe, you know.
There's
Yeah,
also
definitely.
a point of view that ultimate freedom is lack of decision, where you have your life, your routine, and everything laid out, and you know what to do, and you just go with the plan.
Personally, I would say like living by religion is like playing Minecraft on a console and the world is not indefinitely generated and stops with an invisible wall and you have to play in its borders, while playing Minecraft in a vast open space environment like we do is like Java Edition on PC, where you can make, I mean, to be honest, even Minecraft doesn't really have any goal except hunting the Ender Dragon, which almost no one does. When we started playing it, we just started, oh, we're going to punch this rock, now we're going to punch this tree, now we're going to make this build. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think a religion might come with too much baggage, but I think philosophy is always worth doing.
Well,
And I believe that plenty of religions are based on actually good philosophies.
To be fair,
it's just the thing gets muddled when
Yeah.
it's translated
Yeah.
or mistranslated to the masses.
It's just, yeah, to the masses. That's exactly it. I mean, even when I have actually a Bible and a Quran on my table, so I quite like reading religious books for its stories. But even from what I've read so far, it seems, especially when you like talk about these people, certain political stuff, they say, "Oh, I have Jesus in my name." That I sometimes say, you do know that Jesus was from the Middle East and he wasn't white, right? You also do know that he was a Jew, right? You also do know that he was quite an humble person and not materialistic. Maybe he wouldn't have liked that we made a religion of his family name, because I think I've read that Jesus didn't want to be worshipped, and now we're worshipping the cross and where his body lies upon. It's like us people, we cannot help but to worship. Jesus would say, "Do not worship me, my children." And Jesus would die, and people would be like, "What do we do now? Let's worship him and kill all the gays." Yay! it's basically how it goes, and
Yeah, but I think there's many more people that aren't like this.
oh yeah,
maybe.
sure.
I'm from Poland.
Mhm.
Yeah, and in our church, in my church, there are lots of it, of course, and there are people, Catholics, that want to kill gays, let's say, and they are really fighting with them. But in my church, I think there's a lot of nice people that I personally met, and it's kind of like this good Catholic side is kind of very similar to what we learn here. Like even what Zenke talks about, it's the same as my priest in my church. So
well,
I do think that this love of neighbor and compassion and these being like ultimate truths that are cross-cultural, and I think those are the most important lessons that people should take out of
I mean,
their
if you
religion.
read about the simple words of what Jesus said, like love your neighbor and throw not the first stone and stuff like that, I mean, those are simple principles. It's just we as masses have blown it up beyond
even more than
proportion.
that.
But
Doesn't he always
like
also
the religion
say,
isn't
love
the
your
main
enemy?
point. The main point is to be a good human.
the problem is religion has divided us more than uniting us, because people said, even with people that saw, you have Christianity, Catholics, Protestants, it's getting more even, for example, in Islam there are a lot of different groups as well that fighting amongst itself, and yeah, it's just become more dividends, and then people do like terror attacks, radicalizations.
Are you going, Carl? Was that you?
I think he's going.
No.
No,
it was Arya.
Ari-chan, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think, Casper, all these things can be summarized as tribalism.
Yeah,
It's not
tribalism, indeed.
It's not about. it's not about any specific ideology or anything. It's just people seeing the differences.
Yes. Even politics do the
with
same
their
thing
own
as religion, you know? I mean, I am on the left, you're on the
It's even
right,
worse,
you're a
yes.
Republican, you're a Democrat, I'm a liberal, you're a conservative. We're all splitting into groups instead of trying to find a way to unite.
I'm left, whoa, you're right. Yeah.
Can you imagine if it would be the same with anime? Oh wait, you have the ones that like subs and dubs and hate that it's not true anime if you watch it not subbed. Never mind, it's the same shit with anime now. Then you have the radicals that say like you should learn Japanese to actually enjoy anime, and then yeah, it's with everything,
Yeah.
people keep dividing instead of finding a way to unite. But I'm saying a lot, but I have no idea how to unite people, in all honest opinion. Because it's almost in our genes to divide. Like, really, I don't know
I think
how.
this is a good start. Like, we all talking with each other. Like, we find a common ground, talking with each other, and
Yeah, it's
maybe
also
this
something
will
you
reflect
can learn.
somewhere.
You have plenty of time to learn that.
You can learn how to lead people.
Yeah.
And to not divide. Because we are box humans. We put everything in boxes because it's way easier for our brain. But it's just you need to do the hard way. So you need to take every human to see how they are and what they are doing. But it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to bed. So it was nice.
It's like 10 p.m.
Until next week, I
isn't it?
think.
I gotta go
Yeah.
too, but
It's 10
thanks for
p.m.
sharing.
Who goes to
Bye.
sleep at 10 p.m? Not me.
Nice to meet you guys.
I'll see you.
Bye
The
bye.
ones,
Bye,
the ones who need to
Carl.
get up early.
Yeah.
You did a very good job. Thank you for the guy.
Well, have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Eat some
Bye.
cheese before you go.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, okay, he left. Sorry, I was making a Dutch joke.
What's the joke? What's the Dutch?
Well, we call we in Belgium speak also Dutch, but we speak Flemish Dutch, and they speak regular Dutch. You can see it like.
Oh, I didn't know that Flemish was a branch of Dutch.
Yes, well, Flemish is kind of Flemish, but it's like English when you say to an American that they're speaking English. English. You understand both people from the UK and people from America, even though you could say some people see it like a different language. If you would, but the thing is. Just like Americans and people from the UK, sometimes we and the Dutch, because they're like our neighbors, and Belgium used to be part of the Netherlands before it split off because of independence reasons. So we are like sometimes a little bit hostile with each other, like, oh, the Dutch, look at the Dutch, those cheap ass. Because we always say that they never want to spend money, and we always make fun of cheese because we have a word calling them kaaskoppen, which means cheeseheads, that they always eat cheese, which is funny because I really like to eat cheese. But anyway, yeah, it are these little trolling moments, like when someone from the UK sees someone from America, such things,
Cheese is great.
No one really takes that
I
seriously.
love cheese.
Yeah, I like cheese as well. And I hate chocolates. I can't drink beer anymore. I hate chocolates and I hate waffles. So what kind of Belgian am I? Yeah.
You hate chocolate.
Yeah.
Dude, I love so much chocolate.
I can't stand the smell of chocolates or the taste of it.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I have this weird relationship with food. Like when I'm on ketosis, like anything sugary is like so sugary, I cannot stand it. But if I gonna sleep and go back to eating carbs, then I just I just eat so much carbs. So yeah, sugar is something weird. Like processed sugar, like I was looking into it, and it has almost same kind of imprint in your brain as cocaine. It's so super addictive.
Yeah, that's something that a medic told us during a discussion about healthy food. That sugar it has an impact as cocaine, even stronger impact on addiction.
Yeah, so even though like my own diet might seem like a bit extreme, but it seems like there's a lot of information how like fat isn't that unhealthy compared to sugar, and these big companies have in the past they have lobbied against fat in favor of sugar just to boost business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the same like what Coca-Cola does. I know people that have issues like with food as and drinks, and they say, "Oh, I drink Coca-Cola Light because I'm trying to lose weight," and I'm like, "Okay, it has no sugar like Coca-Cola, but you do know that they to keep the taste they put a ton of other crap in there, right?" I mean, Coca-Cola Light is not healthier than Coca-Cola. I always find it hilarious when I see people replacing one tiny thing in their diet and saying, "I'm doing my best by consuming Coca-Cola Light." It's like buying a salad and then dumping a spoon of mayonnaise on it. I've seen people do that. They would get a salad and said, "I bought a salad to be healthy," and then they take a jar of mayonnaise and dump it on their salad.
Also, those sweeteners, like when you like drink something with sweeteners or eat something with sweetener, it still triggers that kind of craving for something sweet. So yeah, I don't think it's like completely removed, and I don't know if they still know everything about those like chemicals that they use.
In the chemicals, we know that in America, certain things they use in fast food in America is actually forbidden to use in Europe, of certain chemical substances they use in like fries and fast food chains because it's considered too addicting for European standards. So yeah.
I like coffee.
Hmm?
No worse.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking about my coffee addiction.
Oh yeah.
Even in virtual reality, I bring it.
Yeah, well, it's relatively harmless.
Well,
a lot of people drink coffee.
Ever had the jitters with heart palpitations thinking you're going to crash? Yeah, those can't be. Those are quite annoying as well.
I have something to share. I don't know if it ever happened to one of you guys, but I'm kind of a workaholic. So I recently just get into vacations. Because of the holidays and because of Corona, I was not able to go visit my family. So I stayed here in France where I'm living, and I was like, oh, I cannot go out. I can't do anything because of Corona. So I just stayed in my home, drinking nothing, and I was like, dude, this is so unhealthy. This is so unhealthy, and it made it everything just clicked when we were having this discussion, and I thought about the rats and the Skinner experiment, and I was wondering if it ever happened to any one of you, like kind of not feeling with any, not wanting to do anything basically. Sometimes I'm almost wondering if it's some sort of depression or something. Like, dude.
Well, I don't know.
I don't
like,
know.
I don't have that kind of personality type. I'm super lazy myself, and I kind of like do a lot of work to make things easy for myself, so I can be lazy. So like, I take that kind of I study engineering. I try to like optimize my living so I can be as lazy as possible.
But that's not. I mean, did you say something about depression and boredom?
Sorry, what?
Did you say something about depression there as well, or what did you say?
Yeah, I mean, I need to talk this with someone more, with a specialist or a doctor, or I don't know. But I honestly didn't have any. I didn't want to do anything. It was so weird because once I stopped working, I just felt like there was no objective of anything. I felt so, like, dude, I don't want to do anything, and I was just like lying on my bed watching YouTube or stuff like that.
There's a
like,
difference between
no,
there's a difference between laziness and enjoying being lazy and depression, because I actually take antidepressants, and one key factor about depression isn't necessarily about feeling sad or anything, because I remember in my worst days that I couldn't even cry or even feel bad. Depression is more like the lack of any kind of feeling. Even sadness would be gone. And you would say sadness and crying is a negative emotion, but it really isn't. Wait until you can't cry anymore. Then you will feel a pressure that you just can't get rid of your chest.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is like close to what you're saying. It might be completely different, but for me, one big part of depression was the like incapability of start doing things. Like I would just like walk around my like apartment and be frustrated that I couldn't like start doing like very simple stuff like cleaning the room or doing dishes or anything like that.
Yeah, making
So it was
food
just,
or doing some exercise. Yeah, totally.
yeah, anything like that. Like it's like very close. It's like you have to, it's possible to do that thing, but you just cannot start. It's just like there's like a brick wall between.
Ooh, that what you say and what you say ring a bell in my head. Like, yeah, because I was feeling like numb. Didn't want to do anything, and didn't want to start anything either.
It's a feeling of numbness, yeah.
Damn. I think I need to reflect a little bit about my life decision so far, because I just feel like I was kind of on my own cage, not doing nothing but work. And then once I got into vacations, it's like the little roll thingy that the rats have. You just take it out, and the rat was like, "What I do now?"
It might be because of your personality type, and you might think that you have to do something all the time. So when you have the possibility to relax and do nothing, maybe you're blaming yourself. So don't be too hard on yourself.
I think
Actually, yeah.
I think we can actually learn from this that I also learned with this meditation is just, more living in the moment and always trying to like attach yourself to, I have to do this, or otherwise I don't feel this. But yeah, it isn't like following one session and be like, now I'm completely detached from the earth. I can enter the avatar state and airbend. That's not gonna happen like that, I think.
Yeah.
But there's truth in it, that we are too fulfilled, and it's just how our society works. It's that we get trained from birth about really having desires. They say you have to make sure that you study hard so you can do this later in life and do this later in life, and so you can get married, and so you will have a great family, and then they say then you will be happy. So you live to the future, and like 40 years from now for a potential future. But I've seen people getting that specific future with a family and all, and they were still not happy, because then they look back and said, I wasted my entire life for what? Yeah, it's learning to be happy in the moment, and yeah, those desires, man.
Yeah, actually, you reminded me something that Senki told during the meditation session of today.
Yeah.
About enjoying the moment, because otherwise you're craving for something that may never comes, or you are we are fixated on this idea that if I have this thing right now, if I got this thing that's lacking, my life is going to be perfect, you know.
Yeah, I also believe that.
Okay.
I was like, if I'm only met someone, I would be happy, because then I would start a family, and then I would have like house, animals, this and that, and I'd be satisfied, because that's where we all striving for. But I've come from quite an abusive family hold, and let me say, they had everything. They had animals, they had each other, and it was like the biggest prison for them, and they stayed together because that's what family is. And there would be the family that would say, "Be happy, children. It's family time. It's supposed to be happy." You know, so and like it's like
totally.
I one time said, "Do we even know what happiness is? Because we keep on living for the future and things to achieve that will give us happiness, but." Yeah, happiness starts with ourselves and in the now, instead of, oh, if only I had a girlfriend from now and then I will be happy, or oh, if only I had my own house, then I will be happy. I actually know a friend that moved into a new house because she wanted to live on her own. She started to live on her own, and then she felt really alone in that house of hers, because it had no memories, or it was a complete alien feeling. So yeah, mission successful, new house, still not feeling satisfied. What gives? We're always hunting for happiness, and we're not really even sure what happiness is. So maybe we should start finding happiness in the now instead of in the future, 10 years from now.
Totally, man.
It's funny, like happiness is also like an emotion, and you know, happiness itself can be pretty trite. If that makes sense. And you know, sometimes being peaceful is not exactly happiness, but you know, peaceful is like in its own thing, and it's also worth doing.
True.
Maybe it's some kind of subtle version of happiness. They do say that.
I'm not understanding very well. Can you explain it otherwise?
Well, happiness has something to do with, you know, the brain. And happiness is an emotion. It's like overflow of some kind of emotion. But having any kind of, you know, stuff happening in your brain gets tiring eventually. Like, you cannot just experience pleasure endlessly.
Eternally.
Like,
yeah.
It's like it becomes tiring. Like, it's exhausting almost. So just being like removed from that kind of extremity also, like it brings peace. And you know, peace, it's its own thing. And I think, you know, it's not exactly happiness, but you know, maybe word contentness or being content is better, you know, this description. I don't know if it's like close to being happy, but it's not exactly like happy, but it's peaceful, you know. You see, there's
contentment. It's balanced. It's balanced. Like, you're not expecting anything. You're sailing the waters of your life and on the present.
Yeah, maybe you're not having the most extreme, crazy experience of your life, but it's still like very enjoyable place to be.
But I see often,
yeah.
like with cats and dogs, they have a lot more simplified life forms compared to humans. But they seem to be a lot more happier in life than we are. I mean, a dog is just happy with the food of a bowl of water and seeing their favorite human entering the door. And every single day, the dog is happy again for seeing the same shit. We are like, oh, we want another PlayStation 5 or 6 with better graphics, even more immersive this. We always want more and more and more and more. Maybe we should be more like dogs. Always be happy. But let's not chase our tails.
They don't worry too much.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I do think that
But we're human, we get tired.
Yes. But I do think we can learn that maybe that's the reason why these simpler life forms tend to be less stressful, like that cat over there.
At least in the human circumstances where we provide them everything that they need, they are content with all those simple things. I do think that in Buddhism they consider animals a realm below humans, and they embody the what was the one of the teachings earlier today? Ignorance. They don't understand the source of suffering, and a lot of animals in the wild are driven by fear of death and hunger. So
well, that's how indeed. There's no Buddhism when a lion is hunting a deer. That deer is not going to say, "Let's practice the Buddhism, brother. Don't eat me." That lion is gonna say, "Shut up, you're mine now." That's kind of how it works in nature. Nature is cruel in that.
But for sure, like when there is like a place for them to be content, they don't try. They just are.
Yeah. True.
My dear friends, I'll have to go now. It's been a great pleasure talking to all of you.
Hey, it was nice to meeting. It was nice
Nice
talking.
to meet you. Bye, Carl.
I think I'll
Casper.
Bye-bye.
I think I'll also go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
Ta-da.
See ya.
See ya.